Hey, this is Brad Gilley, and instead of making something this week, I'm actually going to fix something. Now, recently my dryer went out, and while we probably actually need a new dryer, it's just not in the budget right now, so instead I've decided to fix it. Now, my problem is that the dryer runs. It spins, it tumbles just fine, but there's no heat. So what I did is I actually looked up this particular model on the internet and simply did a search for dryer runs but no heat. It actually found 3 different solutions of what the problem can be. So we're going to explore those right now. So the first thing that came up on the internet, if your dryer runs but it doesn't heat, is to check the breaker. Apparently, even though this is on 220 service, a lot of houses actually have their dryer set up on 2 110 breakers. Now, coming over to my breaker box here in the garage, you can see that right here my dryer is on 1 and 3. Now, this is just a single breaker here, and I tried turning it off and turning it back on and resetting it, but that didn't fix the problem. So on to step number 2. So the second possibility for my dryer not heating is that the heating element is actually out. So what I need to do is actually take off the back of the dryer here, find the heating element and inspect it, and I'll do that right now. So obviously before I took off the back of the dryer, I already had unplugged it. All of my connections here for the plug are just fine. Now, if I look through the back of the dryer here, there's just a few simple things, and I know that my heating element is actually down here. I just need to get behind this panel to pull it off. What I want to do is remember exactly where these connections are. Fortunately, these 2 connectors here are different sizes, so they're only going to go onto one part on this heating element. Now, inspecting the heating element, what I learned on the internet that essentially just inspect it. If the coils are broken anywhere, that's likely your problem. When I go inspect this heating element, I can look right inside here and I can see that these coils right here are actually separated. Now, to find a new heating element, the first thing I did was actually look up the model number of my dryer, and it's a Kenmore 600. Now, I did look and find the part number right back here on the back of the heating element, and I typed that into a Google search. And as you can see, several different options come up for different places where I can order this particular part. Well, I'm familiar with Amazon, as most of us are, so I went to Amazon. Now, one interesting thing is you can see going through Amazon, a different part number keeps coming up when I look for this one. Well, if you look in the question and answer section, you'll find out pretty quick that the part number that comes up actually does cross-reference with this. Apparently, this type of heating element is used on other brands such as Whirlpool. So for just over $20, I went ahead and ordered the part. Well, as you can see when comparing the two, they're practically identical, which is a great thing. This is the old one. We've had this dryer probably 12 years or more. Brand new one right here. And I can tell you this, for about $20 or so, I would much rather just replace this part than buy an entirely new dryer or have to call in a service technician to fix it. So let's get this thing back in properly. The great thing about this heating element is it also came with both a new thermostat and a fuse, so I'm going to go ahead and replace those as well. Now you can see the difference here between the old and the new heating element and when it comes to connecting this. Now the old one has a nice little bridge here. Well, I tried to take that off, but this bridge is actually fused, welded onto this right here. The new one, however, actually comes with this nifty little part to bridge between this tab and this tab. So we'll get that connected up properly and get this reinstalled. I also have this as a replacement part, so we might as well go ahead and replace it. While I have the back of the dryer off, I'm going to go ahead and take the shop vac and actually vacuum all the lint out of the inside of the dryer. The next thing to do is put the back panel back on, plug everything in, and make sure it works. There are actually tabs. Some of them tab onto the bottom of the dryer. Some things go in the dryer. Some parts of the tab go out of the dryer. So sometimes it's a little tricky to get it lined up. Let's turn it around, plug it in, and see if everything works. Well, I can tell you the heat is radiating out of this dryer like it hasn't done since it was new. Maybe it's been a while since I've actually needed to replace this part, but I'm glad I did. Like I mentioned earlier, this dryer is old. It probably needs to be replaced sometime in the near future, but with a simple Google search on things to look for to fix it, a $20 part from Amazon.com, and not even an hour out of my time, my dryer is back up and running, and I'm very happy about that. But I did want to share this with you because I know from time to time in your house things are going to break, and sometimes you can save a lot of money just by doing it yourself. I feel like I've saved about $500 right now on a new dryer, or at least $150 on a service call. So please hit the subscribe button, and thank you so much for tuning into my channel.